As economic hardship continues to affect millions of Nigerians, questions are being raised about promises made by the ruling All Progressives Congress and whether those promises have translated into improved living conditions of Nigerians. With inflation rising now, coming down, one must say 14.5%, and the cost of living increasing, attention is also turning to the opposition and what alternatives, I mean, that's the crux of the matter, they say they would offer if they were to defeat the incumbent President Bola Tinubu. So the question is Nigeria stuck in a never-ending cycle of election-fueled promises and disappointments for Nigerians? Well, my next guest is Lawal Batagarawa, who was Minister of State for Defense under the former President Olusegun Obasanjo administration. He was one of the founding members of the People's Democratic Party, but is currently a chieftain of the African Democratic Congress, that is the ADC. Well, glad to have you join me on Arise Prime Time, Lawal Batagarawa. One thing is, glad to have you join me.
Thank you.
And one thing seems to be common with a common denominator with politicians. You've been in PDP,
yeah.
Now you're in ADC. So politicians are always moving. That is one factor we can say happens. Yeah. But you are raising alarm over what you call a threat to multi-party democracy. I had the National Secretary of the APC, Bashiru, I don't know whether you watched it here yesterday, who said that Nigeria still has parties existing alongside the ruling party. So why is the opposition saying there's a threat of multi-party democracy? So why?
The answer to that question is that, you see, multi-party democracy is grounded on the principles of free association. Now, when the government begins to take decisions that inhibit those free associations, then there is a threat to multi-party democracy. It is important to reduce it to the individual level first before you can escalate it to the level of party. Now, a number of opposition politicians within the ADC and PDP have issued a statement detailing a number of, a pattern that is emerging, that is putting pressure on people to change alliances, not on the basis of their free will, but on the basis of pressure from the government. That is what is very concerning. The issue of joining political parties should be is based on your free will. But if you are put under pressure and that pressure becomes systemic and widespread, then it means you are saying that, well, look, by the force of institutions of government, if you don't do this, we'll deal with you. Then it means you are undermining multi-party.
And that will raise my next question, because the onus is on the accuser to produce an evidence of their accusation. So when you say that people are being forced to move from here to there, what evidence do you have? Again, I had the National Secretary of the APC here yesterday, who gave reasons why people like, for example, Doyediri will move from PDP to APC. He talked about the coastal road, and he gave some other reasons of some other governors who felt that, look, the past governments didn't do this, this government comes, does it, so that gives me a reason to swap. So the question is, where is your evidence when you say that people are being forced?
Okay. Let's just take the statement of Adams Oshiomhole,
okay,
as the then chairman of APC. He made a public statement to say anybody who joins the PDP, the APC, their sins are forgiven. That is a loaded statement.
Yeah, I raised that issue with Bashir yesterday. Yeah, go on.
It's not me to defend that. It's Adams Oshiomhole as the chairman of APC saying that if you come and join our party, whatever you are crying, you are free. I didn't make that statement. It's not ADC. It is the chairman of APC who made that claim. Right?
Yeah.
So it is up to him to defend himself. You are asking me to give you an example of how this is done? There it is for you.
Yeah, but that can be interpreted in so many ways.
No.
See, it can be subjective when you say, he said, if you join the APC, your sins are forgiven.
Yes.
Yeah, I was rather looking for, okay, because for example, when you say the government of the day is instigating the defection of governors, opposition politicians into the ruling party, I'm wondering, what's wrong with that? Maybe they have what you don't have, and, they're going into those parties. In fact, I had the director of news here yesterday who said that the opposition should be very careful, because are you saying, for example, we will get to that, let's just get to that. You said they are weaponizing the EFCC or the security agencies. You said they're weaponizing them. So he says that the opposition should be very careful. Are you saying that if somebody has committed an offense, maybe a fraud, they should be treated with kid gloves? Is that what you're saying?
The answer is no.
Okay.
We're very clear. Look, I am part of PDP. I'm part of Obasanjo's government. We brought the legislation to the National Assembly, which was enacted by the National Assembly to establish the EFCC. The current National Security Advisor was the first chairman of EFCC. So that's not what we are saying. What we are saying is very simple. Where you see cases taking off with a lot of fanfare, things slow down and you see some movements. As you said, I'm being very careful. Okay? You see things changing, just slowing down. Whereas the media hype that greeted those cases should have sustained the momentum to see those cases go through the court. Suddenly, everybody loses interest. It is, as you said, we are very clear. We don't condone corruption. We actually support security agencies to discharge their responsibilities honorably. After all, we are all interested in the security agencies succeeding in their work. As a matter of fact, where security is concerned, we as an opposition party, we have a duty and a responsibility to support the government to ensure everybody's life and property is adequately protected. Okay? So let us be very clear about that. We have no problem with these security agencies doing their jobs in a transparent, honest, and clear manner. So let's get that clear. No, we do not condone corruption
or fraud.
We are not in support of people committing that. But we are concerned when it looks like it's subjectivity.
Let me help your case, because I know the opposition talked about selective judgment.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
No, go ahead.
And I'm asking you, because the opposition talked about selective prosecutions.
Yes.
Sorry, not judgment, selective prosecutions. Yes. And you mentioned some cases, so you want to probably raise that?
No.
Because the opposition talked about a case where a minister, for example, resigned, and as of today, nothing seems to be done. But Bashiru said, he's a lawyer, he said there is no limit to when prosecution can take place. That was his argument. But I know you.
No. You see, again, that's not correct. There is a limitation. There is statute of limitation.
Yeah, I know that.
And some of these cases will deliberately be manipulated so that you exceed the time of statute of limitations. And the case you have just mentioned, that of the minister, is a clear-cut case. So it is this kind of cases that gives us cause for concern, that there is no consistency in terms of the way the security agencies are behaving. So we need to be very careful, and those are cases of serious concern. We are not in any way, as a matter of fact, we are in fact saying that allow the security agencies to do their work, irrespective of who is concerned. Those members of your party that you delay their cases or you actually bury them, it does not inspire confidence in the security agencies, it does not inspire confidence in the judiciary. As your last guest has stated, if people are shut down, they will find a way for self-help. That is a very dangerous, slippery path. It leads to anarchy. And we need to be very, very careful of that. And the chief security officer of the state, of the nation, is the president. So whatever the security agencies do, if it goes and he doesn't check them going that way, he takes full responsibility for it. And that means if he allows that to continue, he is leading us to anarchy. Should the president, commander-in-chief, lead the country along that slippery path?
A question that needs answers. Well. Some are asking, what is the opposition even bringing to the table to change the plight of Nigerians? What value are they adding? What product is the opposition selling that will sway the minds of the people to turn towards you? Or is it what has been touted in some circulars, same or same?
Okay.
I mean, because this administration promised change, but I mean, analysts are wondering, is it change for the better or change for the negative? Because cost of living is going up. Yeah, one can say the inflation is coming down, but like I asked Bashiru, what is the expendable income in the pockets of people? How are they living? You know. So what is the opposition bring? What are you selling? What value are you adding? For me, for people on the street to say, wait a bit, I think these guys have a point. I think I'll vote for them. I'll buy into their product. I'll buy their product.
I'll talk about two areas. Number one is security and peace. Now, most people will talk about security. You can see I said security and peace because security is different from peace.
Yeah.
But they are two sides of the same coin.
Okay.
Whereas you cannot expand your economy if you are in a state of perpetual insecurity. Whereas you cannot expand your economy if you are in a perpetual state of not peaceful coexistence with people. So one of the major planks we are talking about as ADC is that we will ensure a secure and peaceful environment so that people can go about their lawful businesses to earn a living in comfort without fear of molestation. So that's one area. Two, the economy. You see, when you are talking of the economy, you are talking of inflation, all of that. You see, inflation between the official figures of inflation and what is the impact on your pocket are two different things. Now, we know because of insecurity, a lot of people can no longer earn a living. They don't have access to their land. they don't have access to their markets. So the inflation that we may be talking about is what is in the Bureau of National Statistics. It does not affect the living conditions of the people. If you don't have, the inflation may also be as a consequence of the intensity of the insecurity, because the people cannot buy. So that is forcing prices to go down. We're also aware.
That's a point.
We're also aware there has been a massive importation. And what that has done is it has crippled local production of agriculture. In order to bring this cost down, the federal government has imported, and it has forced a lot of people to leave their farms because their cost of production, they are not recovering their cost. As a matter of fact, some agri companies have made a calculation to say that in some of the states, people are losing as much as 600,000 naira per hectare. If you look at the current cost and you take the current cost of inputs that you require to work on that agriculture,
you're losing.
You are losing. Cost of fertilizer is still up, insecticide up, herbicide is up, but the cost of actual product being produced is going down. You are just taking cost of inputs, you are not taking cost of labor.
Yeah.
All right?
Well, now, in 2 minutes, you made some valid points, but now one would ask, talk is cheap. So, insecurity, I mean, in a nutshell, what do you want to do differently to change the narrative?
On the
insecurity.
Insecurity.
Then the second one, you talked about the economy.
Yeah.
So
let me
what
talk
plans,
about, Okay, let me start with insecurity. Given the amount of arms in illegal hands, and I'm sorry to say, in some instances, state governments are actually handing over arms to so-called what do you call it? They are handing over arms to some called community vigilantes and what have you. That is further fueling crisis. Organized security agencies with a proper rules and regulations of engagements, you have problems with them in some cases, the way they handle their arms. What if you give those arms to people that have no training, they have no discipline, they are not even paid proper wages? What are they going to do with those weapons? So first and foremost, we have to absorb a lot of these arms out of illegal hands. That's one stage. Now, the second is that if you take out the arms and you deal with the people who have been criminally involved, then you have to sit down and say, okay, how do I stop arms going into the wrong hands again?
Well, I don't have all the time.
Okay, thanks.
We have news next. Thank you so much, Lawal Batagarawa, former Minister of Defense under President Obasanjo, and of course, a chieftain of the ADC. Thank you for being on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Do join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.